The graveyard is the richest place on earth because it is here that you will find all the hopes and dreams that were never fulfilled, the books that were never written, the songs that were never sung, the inventions that were never shared, the cures that were never discovered, all because someone was too afraid to take that first step, keep with the problem, or determined to carry out their dream. You have to be hungry. I want you to look at your life right now and understand that you are not here by accident. You are listening to these words because there is something stirring inside of you that the world hasn't seen yet. I remember sitting in a room labeled educable mentally retarded, told by the world that I wouldn't amount to anything. But I had a mother who believed in me, and eventually I had to learn to believe in myself. You have a dream. I don't care how disappointing it has been as you've been working toward that dream, but that dream that you're holding in your mind, that it's possible. The unstoppable power of a hungry vision, you have to understand that your dream is not just a casual thought or a nice-to-have accessory for your life. It is a biological and spiritual necessity. Most people are walking around in a state of psychological sleepwalking. They wake up, they brush their teeth, they go to a job, they don't like to buy things, they don't need to impress people they don't even know. They are living in a terminal state of fine. But you have a spark. That dream you're holding on to, that business, that book, that ministry, that transformation, it's there because it was assigned to you. And the first thing you must do if you want to see that dream manifest is to develop a vision so powerful, so vivid, and so consuming that it pulls you out of bed before the alarm clock even thinks about going off. You have to be hungry for it. I remember when I was struggling, just trying to find my way, people would look at me and see a failure. They saw a man who was educable, mentally retarded. They saw a man with no college degree and no proper background. But they couldn't see what I saw. I had a vision of myself behind a microphone, speaking hope into the hearts of thousands. I didn't have the equipment. I didn't have the platform. I didn't even have the permission, but I had the vision. When you have a vision that is big enough, the how doesn't matter. The how is none of your business in the beginning. Your business is the what and the why. If your why is strong enough, the how will show up. You have to see yourself winning before the game even starts. You have to walk like a winner, talk like a winner, and carry yourself with the dignity of a person who knows exactly where they are going. Most people fail in life not because they aim too high and miss, but because they aim too low and hit. They settle for the crumbs of life when there is a whole banquet waiting for them. You have to decide right now that you will no longer be a volunteer victim of your circumstances. You have to look at your current reality. Maybe it's a bank account that's empty. Maybe it's a body that's tired. Maybe it's a relationship that's broken. And you have to say, this is not my destination. This is just a stop along the way. You have to hold that vision in front of your eyes like a shield. When the world tells you no, your vision must say, Wes. When your bank account says, possible, your vision must say, I'm working on it. You have to be your own prophet. You have to speak your future into existence before it ever shows its face in the physical world. This kind of vision requires a level of focus that most people aren't willing to give. We live in a world of distractions. Everyone wants your time, your energy, and your attention. But if you are going to protect your dream, you have to become a specialist in no. You have to say no to the parties, no to the gossip, and no to the people who are going nowhere fast. You have to be willing to be misunderstood. You have to be willing to be the crazy one in the family, because while they are talking about people, you are talking about ideas. While they are watching television, you are watching your future unfold. You have to nourish that dream every single day. You have to read the books that feed your soul. You have to listen to the voices that lift you up. You have to create an environment where your dream can breathe. The power of a hungry vision is that it changes your vibration. It changes the way you walk into a room. People can sense when a person has a mission. They can sense when someone is on fire. And let me tell you, the world will make room for a person who knows where they are going. But you have to be certain. You can't be kind of interested in your dream. You can't be sort of committed. You have to be all in. You have to burn the boats. You have to reach a point where there is no plan B, because plan B only distracts from plan A. Your vision has to be so clear that you can smell the success, you can taste the victory, and you can feel the handshake of the people you've helped. If you can see it in your mind, you can hold it in your hand. But it starts with that internal fire. It starts with the hunger. It starts with you deciding that you are worthy of the greatness that is calling your name. Don't let anyone steal your vision. It was given to you, and only you have the power to bring it to life. The transformative power of the struggle, you have to understand that the road to your dreams is not a smooth paved highway. It's a rugged uphill climb, and somewhere along that path, you are going to hit a wall. You're going to experience what I call the dark night of the soul, where everything that can go wrong does go wrong. You'll look at your bank account and see zeros. You'll look at your friends and see them turning their backs. You'll look in the mirror and see a face lined with exhaustion and doubt. And in that moment, a voice is going to whisper in your ear, maybe they were right. Maybe you aren't cut out for this. Maybe you should just settle for a normal life. But I'm here to tell you that the struggle is not there to stop you. The struggle is there to see if you're really serious about that dream you've been talking about. Most people look at struggle as a sign of failure. They think that if it's hard, they must be doing something wrong. But let me tell you, if you're going after greatness, it's supposed to be hard. If it were easy, everybody would do it. The struggle is the weeding out process. It's the universe's way of asking, how hungry are you? I remember when I was sleeping on the floor of my office because I couldn't afford an apartment. I remember the cold, the hunger, and the crushing weight of uncertainty. I could have quit. I had every excuse in the world to give up. But I realized that the struggle was my training ground. It was developing a muscle in me that I didn't know I had. It was building a level of resilience that no book could ever teach. You can't become a champion by only fighting easy battles. You need the heavyweights. You need the opponents that knock you down so you can learn how to get back up. When you are in the midst of the fire, you have to change your relationship with pain. You have to stop viewing it as a disaster and start viewing it as a development. Think about a piece of coal. It doesn't become a diamond by sitting in the sun and enjoying the breeze. It becomes a diamond because it is subjected to incredible pressure and heat over a long period of time. You are that diamond. The pressure you're feeling right now, the bills, the rejection, the late nights, the loneliness, that is the heat that is refining your soul. It's burning away the small version of you. It's stripping away the ego, the laziness, and the hesitation. It's leaving behind something hard, something brilliant, and something unbreakable. You have to tell yourself, I'm not being buried, I'm being planted. The struggle also serves a higher purpose. It gives you a story. Nobody wants to hear from someone who had everything handed to them on a silver platter. There is no power in that. The power is in the person who was down for the count and found a way to stand up. The power is in the person who was told no 1,000 times and still had the audacity to ask again. When you finally reach that mountaintop, and you will reach it if you don't quit, your struggle will be the very thing that inspires others to keep going. Your scars will be your credentials. You'll be able to look someone in the eye who is suffering and say, I know how you feel. I've been where you are. And if I made it out, you can make it out too. Your struggle is your ministry. It is the proof that the human spirit is more powerful than any circumstance. So when the storm hits, I want you to stand your ground. Don't seek the path of least resistance. That path leads to a mediocre life and a crowded graveyard of what-ifs. Instead, lean into the wind. Accept the challenge. Say to the universe, is that all you've got? Because I'm still standing, you have to have a no matter what philosophy. You have to be willing to fail and fail and fail again until you succeed. Because every time you fail and you choose to get back up, you are growing. You are expanding. You are becoming a person who is capable of handling the greatness that is coming your way. The struggle is the price of admission for the life of your dreams. Pay the price. It's worth it. You are worth it. Your dream is worth it. Don't you dare give up on yourself when the going gets tough. That's just the sign that your breakthrough is right around the corner. The necessity of uncompromising courage, you have to understand that once you decide to follow your dream and push through the struggle, you are going to enter a season where courage becomes your only currency. And I'm not talking about the kind of courage you see in the movies where the hero is fearless. I'm talking about that quiet, shivering courage that shows up when you are terrified, when your knees are knocking, and when you are standing all alone against a world that doesn't see what you see. You see, it takes no courage to be part of the crowd. It takes no courage to fit in, to complain about the economy, or to talk about what's wrong with the world. But it takes a tremendous amount of guts to stand up and say, I am going to live my life differently. It takes courage to be the only person in your circle who believes that greatness is possible. Most people are paralyzed by the fear of what other people think. They are living their lives based on the opinions of their neighbors, their co-workers, and people they don't even like. They have group think and group fear. But if you want to be successful, you have to be willing to be misunderstood. You have to be willing to be the oddball. You have to have the courage to walk away from the safety of the pack. When I decided I wanted to be a public speaker, people laughed at me. They reminded me that I was a D student. They reminded me of my speech impediments. They tried to protect me by telling me to be realistic. But you can't be realistic and change the world at the same time. You have to have the courage to be unrealistic. You have to have the courage to bet on yourself when nobody else is putting chips on your table. Courage is like a muscle. If you don't use it, it withers. But every time you do something that scares you, that muscle grows stronger. You have to start challenging yourself to step into the fear zone every single day. If you're afraid to make that phone call, make it. If you're afraid to ask for that promotion, ask for it. If you're afraid to start that business, go register the name today. You see, fear is a liar. Fear stands for false evidence appearing real. It's an illusion designed to keep you small. Most of the things we fear never even happen, but we let them stop us from claiming our destiny. You have to look fear in the face and say, you have no power over me. I am the captain of my soul, and I am moving forward whether you like it or not. One of the hardest parts of having courage is the loneliness that comes with it. When you decide to grow, you're going to outgrow some people. You're going to find that some of the people you've known for years can't go where you're going. They don't have the lung capacity for the altitude you're reaching for. It takes courage to let go of toxic relationships. It takes courage to say goodbye to the people who are holding you back, even if you love them. You have to surround yourself with people who challenge you, not just people who comfort you. You need oxpie. Only exceptional people. You need people who will look at your dream and say, that's big, but I know you can do it. Rather than people who say, who do you think you are? You also need the courage to fail in public. Most people are so afraid of looking foolish that they never try anything new. They stay in their comfort zones, and their comfort zones become their coffins. You have to be willing to fall flat on your face. You have to be willing to get rejected. I remember going to that radio station day after day, asking for a job. The manager told me no so many times I should have been discouraged, but I had the courage to keep showing up. I had the courage to be a nuisance for my dream, and eventually that no turned into a yes. Why? Because I didn't let the rejection define me. I used it as fuel. The world belongs to the courageous. History doesn't remember the people who played it safe. It remembers the people who took risks. It remembers the people who had a vision and the heart to follow it through the dark. You have to decide right now that you will no longer be a spectator in your own life. You have to get out of the bleachers and get onto the field. Yes, you might get tackled. Yes, you might get bruised, but at least you'll be in the game. You have to have the courage to live your life on your own terms. You have to have the courage to be authentically you in a world that is trying to make you like everyone else. Your dream is counting on your courage. Your family is counting on your courage. The people you were born to inspire are waiting for you to find you're brave. Stand up and be bold. The architecture of a renewed mindset, you have to realize that the battle for your dream is won or lost in the 6 inches between your ears. You can have the best plan, the best connections, and the most courage in the world, but if your mind is programmed for poverty, if your mind is programmed for not enough, then you will constantly sabotage your own success. You see, the mind is like a garden. If you don't intentionally plant seeds of greatness, seeds of possibility, and seeds of abundance, then weeds will grow by themselves. You don't have to do anything to grow weeds. They just show up. Negativity, doubt, and mindedness are the weeds of the human experience. If you aren't a clinical gatekeeper of your thoughts, you will find yourself living a life that is a reflection of your fears rather than your potential. Most of us have been programmed by a world that specializes in limitation. We've been told since we were children to be careful, to stay in our place, and to not get our hopes too high. We've been conditioned to look at what we lack rather than what we have. But if you want to see that dream manifest, you have to perform a radical brainwash on yourself. You have to wash out the old toxic ideas of I can't and it's impossible, and I'm not good enough. You have to replace them with a new internal narrative. You have to start speaking to yourself like a champion. When you wake up in the morning, before you check your phone, before you talk to the world, you need to talk to yourself. You need to say, I am a child of God. I am created for greatness. I am a magnet for opportunities. I am getting better and better every single day. Your mindset is the thermostat of your life. If you set your mental thermostat to struggle, your life will always find a way to stay in that temperature, no matter how much money you make or how many doors open for you. Have you ever noticed people who win the lottery and then lose it all in a few years? It's because their bank account changed, but their mindset didn't. They were still poor on the inside. You have to become Rick on the inside first. You have to start seeing yourself as the person you want to become. You have to walk into rooms as if you belong there. You have to handle your business with the mindset of a CEO, even if you're currently working in the mailroom. You have to develop what I call expectant faith. You shouldn't just hope things will work out. You should expect them to. This shift requires you to be very careful about what you allow into your mental space. You have to put a no trespassing sign on your mind. You cannot afford the luxury of a negative thought. Now, I'm not saying you'll never have a negative thought. We all do. But you don't have to invite it to sit down and have dinner. When a thought of doubt enters your mind, you have to escort it out immediately. You have to replace it with a powerful affirmation. If the thought says, you're going to fail, you say, I am learning how to succeed. If the thought says, it's too late, you say, my timing is perfect. You have to be aggressive with your positivity. You have to feed your mind with high-octane information. Read the biographies of people who have overcome incredible odds. Listen to the speeches that set your soul on fire. Surround yourself with voices that stretch your thinking. You also have to understand the power of your words. Your words are the blueprints for the life you are building. Many people are literally talking themselves into failure. They say things like, my back is killing me. I'm broke. I'm always sick. Nothing ever works for me. They are using their words to describe their situation. Instead of using their words to change their situation, you have to stop being a reporter of your current circumstances and start being the architect of your future. Stop saying what you're going through and start saying where you're going. Your subconscious mind is always listening, and it takes its orders from you. If you tell it you're a failure, it will find ways to make you fail. If you tell it you're a winner, it will find ways to make you win. Developing a renewed mindset is a 24-hour-a-day job. It's not something you do just when you're at a seminar or listening to a motivational talk. It's what you do when you're stuck in traffic. It's what you do when you get a bill you can't pay. It's what you do when someone insults you. You have to maintain your mental poise. You have to stay in the zone. You have to convince yourself that no matter what is happening on the outside, you are in control of what is happening on the inside. When you master your mind, you master your world. When you change your thinking, you change your life. You have the power to reinvent yourself starting right now, simply by changing the way you perceive your reality. You are not a victim of your past. You are the master of your future. The necessity of relentless personal growth, you have to understand that your dream is a living, breathing entity, and a living thing must either grow or it will begin to die. Most people reach a certain age and they decide that they've learned enough, they've seen enough, and they've grown enough. They become comfortable in their shell, and they spend the rest of their lives defending that comfort. But let me tell you something, comfort is the graveyard of greatness. If you are not uncomfortable, you are not growing. If you aren't doing things that make your heart race and your palms sweat, you are playing it too safe. You have to commit yourself to a life of kaizen, of constant, never-ending improvement. You have to be willing to shed your old skin, even if it's the only one you've ever known, so that a bigger, stronger, and more capable version of you can emerge. Growth is a painful process, and that's why most people avoid it. It's like the story of the lobster. A lobster is a soft, mushy animal that lives inside of a rigid shell. That shell does not grow. So as the lobster grows, that shell becomes very confining. It feels under pressure and it becomes uncomfortable. The lobster has to go under a rock formation to protect itself from predatory fish, cast off the shell, and produce a new one. The stimulus for the lobster to grow is that it feels uncomfortable. If lobsters had doctors, they would never grow, because as soon as the lobster feels uncomfortable, it would go to the doctor and get a Valium. and it would feel fine. It would never shed its shell. You have to realize that the discomfort you feel right now is actually a signal that it's time for you to grow. It's time for you to move to the next level. It's time for you to expand your vision and your capacity. If you want to achieve your dream, you have to become the person who is capable of holding that dream. You can't have $1 million dream with a minimum wage mindset or a good enough skill set. You have to read, study, and prepare everyone around you. I used to practice my speeches in front of a mirror for hours. I would record myself and listen back until I couldn't stand the sound of my own voice. And then I'd do it again. I was hungry to be better. You have to be a student of your craft. You have to be a lifelong learner. The world is changing so fast that if you aren't growing, you're already falling behind. You have to be proactive about your development. Don't wait for your company to send you to a seminar. Send yourself. Don't wait for a mentor to find you. Study the masters until you become one. Personal growth also means expanding your emotional intelligence. It means learning how to handle people, how to handle stress, and how to handle success. Many people get to the top only to fall back down because they didn't grow their character at the same rate they grew their bank account. You have to work harder on yourself than you do on your job. If you work hard on your job, you can make a living. If you work hard on yourself, you can make a fortune. You have to look at your weaknesses, not with shame, but with a clinical eye. Where are you leaking energy? Where are you being lazy? Where are you letting go? Get in the way of your progress. Growth requires a level of honesty with yourself that most people simply cannot handle. One of the greatest enemies of growth is success. Once you achieve a little bit of success, there is a temptation to start coasting. You start thinking you've arrived. But the moment you think you've arrived is the moment you start to slide backward. You have to stay hungry. You have to keep setting higher bars for yourself. If you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room. You need to be around people who make you feel like you haven't done anything yet. You need to be around people who stretch your vocabulary, stretch your goals, and stretch your belief in what is possible. Growth is a collaborative effort between your will and your environment. You have to understand that your potential is like an ocean. It's vast and largely unexplored. Most of us are playing in the tide pools, afraid to go out into the deep water. But the deep water is where the big fish are. The deep water is where the real treasures are found. You have to have the audacity to believe that there is more in you. There is a next level version of you that is waiting to be activated, but that version of you will only show up when you demand it. You have to put yourself in situations where you have no choice but to grow. You have to take on projects that are too big for you. You have to speak to audiences that intimidate you. You have to invest money in yourself that makes you nervous. That nervousness is the sound of your old shell cracking. Let it crack. Let the new you come forth. You were made for more than this. You were made for greatness. The catalyst of relentless and massive action, you can have the most beautiful vision in the world. You can survive the most grueling struggles. You can possess the courage of a lion, the mindset of a sage, and the growth of a giant. But if you do not get out there and put your hands to the plow, it all means absolutely nothing. Ideas are a dime a dozen. Everyone has a dream, everyone has a plan, and everyone has a someday story. But the world doesn't pay you for what you know. The world pays you for what you do. Action is the bridge between the world of your imagination and the world of your reality. It is the only thing that can take a thought and turn it into a paycheck, a book, or a movement. You have to understand that done is better than perfect, and now is better than later. You have to become a person of massive, relentless, and unapologetic action. Most people are waiting for the perfect time to start. They're waiting for the stars to align, for the economy to improve, or for their kids to grow up. But I'm here to tell you that there is no perfect time. The clock is ticking while you're getting ready to get ready. Someone else who is less qualified than you, less talented than you, and less prepared than you is already out there doing it. They're making the mistakes, they're getting the no's, and they're moving closer to the yes. You have to stop analyzing and start executing. You have to move before you're ready. I remember when I wanted to get into broadcasting, I didn't wait for a job offer to come to my house. I went to that station and I sat there. I made myself available. I took action when I didn't have a dime in my pocket. You have to have that kind of it's go time spirit. The secret to massive action is consistency. It's not about what you do once in a while. It's about what you do every single day. Success is a numbers game. If you knock on enough doors, someone is going to open one. If you make enough calls, someone is going to answer. If you write enough pages, you're going to have a book. You have to develop a work ethic that makes other people uncomfortable. You have to be the first one in and the last one to leave. You have to outwork everybody. When I was starting out, I decided that I might not be the smartest and I might not be the most polished. But nobody, and I mean nobody, was going to outwork Les Brown. You have to have that kind of internal drive. You have to be willing to do the things today that others won't do so you can have the things tomorrow that others won't have. Many people are afraid of action because they are afraid of failure. They think that if they try and fail, they've lost. But the only way you truly lose is if you never try at all. Failure is just data. It's just feedback. It's the universe telling you, try it a different way. You have to be willing to fail your way to success. Every no you hear is just a stepping stone to an oasis. You have to be like a postage stamp. Stick to one thing until you get there. Don't let a setback stop your momentum. When you hit a wall, don't turn around and go home. Find a way over it, under it, through it, or around it. You have to be relentless. You have to be like a dog with a bone. You have to say, I'm going to stay with this until it yields to me. Action also creates clarity. We often think we need to know the whole map before we start the journey, but life doesn't work that way. The headlights of a car only show you the next 200 feet, but that's enough to get you all the way across the country. You just have to keep moving. As you take action, new doors will open that you couldn't even see from the starting line. New people will come into your life. New ideas will spark. But none of that happens while you're sitting on the couch. You have to get into the arena. You have to get some skin in the game. You have to be willing to get sweaty, get tired, and get rejected. That is the price of admission for a life of greatness. I want you to look at your life and ask yourself, am I busy or am I being productive? There is a big difference. Busy people talk about what they're going to do. Productive people show you what they've done. Stop talking and start walking. Stop planning and start performing. Your dream is not going to fulfill itself. It is waiting for you to give it life through your labor. You have the power to create whatever you want, but you have to be willing to pay the price in sweat equity. You have to be hungry for the work as much as you are hungry for the reward. Get out there today and make a move. Even if it's a small move, make it. Build that momentum, because once you start moving and you keep moving, there is nothing on this green earth that can stop a person who has decided that they will not be denied